Welcome to the part 2 of the special edition of Essential English Words regarding the emergency situation caused by Cyclone Alfred in Brisbane. As we speak, the cyclone is here and it is raining constantly. So these are special words. These are high frequency vocabulary words used during a natural disaster and a national crisis. First, I will use these words in a short passage while describing the Cyclone Alfred emergency. Do not focus on the words, only focus on the general meaning of the passage so that you can understand the whole situation. As Cyclone Alfred moved further inland, meteorologists announced its downgrade to a tropical storm. However, the danger was far from over as severe flooding continued to wreak havoc across Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Rivers swelled beyond their banks, submerging entire neighborhoods and leaving residents stranded on rooftops. The storm left a trail of destruction, with homes torn apart, roads washed away, and essential services crippled. A state of emergency was declared across Queensland and northern New South Wales, allowing authority to deploy additional resources for rescue and recovery efforts. Thousands of displaced families sought shelter at evacuation centers where volunteers provided food, blankets, and medical care. As floodwaters began to recede, emergency crews worked tirelessly to clear debris from streets and restore access to isolated communities. Despite official warnings, some residents refused to evacuate, choosing instead to stay behind and protect their homes, many of whom later required urgent rescue as conditions worsened. Now I will isolate these 8 essential words related to Cyclone Alfred that has been ravaging Brisbane, the Gold Coast, and many parts of southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. We will examine them in detail, still in the context of emergency of Cyclone Alfred. Then we will examine these words in a different context and their use in other situations not related to emergency situations. 9. Downgrade. Although Cyclone Alfred has been downgraded, heavy rain and flood continue to impact southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. Despite the downgrade, authorities are warning residents of Brisbane that dangerous conditions remain. 10. Flooding. Severe flooding submerged streets in Brisbane CBD, leaving cars stranded and businesses shut down. The Gold Coast's canals overflowed, adding to the widespread flooding already affecting low-lying suburbs. Destruction. Brisbane's western suburbs saw widespread destruction, with homes torn apart and trees uprooted. The cyclone left a path of destruction along the New South Wales coast, damaging roads and cutting off entire towns. 12. Emergency. A state of emergency has been declared across Queensland as authorities respond to the impact of Cyclone Alfred. Emergency crews in the northern New South Wales are working around the clock to rescue stranded residents and clear debris. Shelter. Hundreds of people sought shelter at evacuation centres set up in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Residents in flooded-prone areas of northern New South Wales were urged to shelter in place as conditions worsen. Debris. Brisbane streets were covered in debris, including fallen trees and shattered glass from high-rise buildings. Council workers in the Gold Coast spent the morning clearing debris from roads to restore access for emergency vehicles. Evacuate. Residents of low-lying suburbs in Brisbane were told to evacuate immediately as river levels continued to rise. Authorities in northern New South Wales warned people to evacuate before conditions became too dangerous. 16. Torrential. Brisbane experienced torrential rain overnight, leading to flash floods and landslides in surrounding areas. The Gold Coast hinterland recorded torrential downpours, causing landslips that blocked key transport routes. So here are 2 example sentences of each of the 8 words illustrating different contexts beyond Cyclone Alfred. These will help you see and understand how these words are used in various other situations. Downgrade. The act of lowering something in status, rank, or quality. Lowering something. The employee was upset after receiving a downgrade in his job title due to company restructuring. After poor performance, the restaurant was given a downgrade in its health inspection rating. Flooding. The overflow of water onto normally dry land, often resulting from heavy rain or storms. The shop was experiencing flooding, with complaints after a pricing error was posted online. The author's email inbox was flooding with messages after her book was featured in the news. Destruction. The action or process of causing significant damage or complete ruin. Example sentence. The fire caused the complete destruction of the historical landmark. Years of war led to the destruction of the country's cultural heritage sites. Emergency. Definition. A serious, unexpected, and often dangerous situation requiring immediate attention or action. She had to leave work early. She had to leave work early due to a family emergency. The school held a drill to prepare students for an emergency evacuation. 13. Shelter. A place providing protection from danger, weather, or adverse conditions. Many stray animals find shelter in abandoned buildings during winter. The hikers took shelter under a tree when the rain started pouring heavily. Debris. Definition: scattered fragments or remains, typically from something that has been destroyed or broken. Construction workers cleared debris from the old building before starting renovations. After the fireworks display, the park was littered with debris from used firecrackers. Evacuate. To remove people from a dangerous place to a safer location. Passengers were asked to evacuate the plane after a technical issue was detected. The firefighters had to evacuate nearby buildings due to a gas leak. 16. Torrential. Describing heavy, intense rainfall or downpour, often in short bursts. During the soccer match, torrential rain forced the players off the field. The hikers were caught in torrential downpours while trekking through the jungle. Let me know if you need anything else. Let's talk about these words casually. Downgrade means lowering the quality of the situation or condition. So Cyclone Alfred or any cyclone will slowly weaken as time passes. So when they weaken to a certain degree, they will be downgraded, means lowered. Their danger, their intensity, their speed are less, and so they will be downgraded from category 2 to 1 and so forth. Despite their downgrade, they are still dangerous. So anything that's been downgraded is less dangerous, but still dangerous. People should not be complacent. They should not take it easy just because of the downgrade. So with the word destruction, there is a phrase, several phrases associated with this. In the examples that we saw, we have the widespread destruction versus localized destruction. Widespread means destruction everywhere. Localized destruction means localized to one area, one smaller area. The other phrase that's often used is a path of destruction. So the cyclone moves from one area to another, from one place it moves to the other. So as it moves, it causes destruction. So there is a path, a road, a line of destruction from A to B. So with the word emergency, there's also a phrase that you often use. It is a state of emergency. So it is a state of emergency, meaning it is a big situation. So it's a state of emergency, which involves many people in a community in a wider area. So let's look at this other word, debris. So this word is simple. It's a simple word. It just means waste, things that have fallen off, little bits and pieces. So you can see that the pronunciation of the word debris does not correspond to its spelling. So the S is silent. Debris, debris. So the word stress is on the second syllable. Debris, debris, debris. So this word debris or debris has two different word stress depending on the accent. So you can have it debris or debris. Whichever one you use, you can hear that both have silent S. So you don't pronounce the S. It's debris or debris. So the other phrase that's related to a path of destruction is a trail of destruction. A trail of destruction, which has the same meaning. So it means leaving a trail of evidence, so leaving a sequence of evidence of its passage, that it has gone through this path. So a path of destruction, a trail of destruction. You can hear behind me bursts, gusts of wind and rain pelting down on my window screen. It's relentless. See you in part 3.